It's time for the Brown Sports Bag on WCLU, the official local sports show here in Glasgow and Barron County. And now, alongside John Butler, here is your host, James Brown.
Well, we came back again this week. We're going to talk some football and some baseball. I've put MLB on this little thing, our sheet here, John, just because maybe we saw the greatest performance in the history of Major League Baseball in the playoffs the other night, but we'll discuss that in the second segment. We're going to start off, though, with some high school football and the fact that the Glasgow Scotties beat LaRue County 42-6 on Friday night. We had discussed last week that Hart County was probably the second best team in the district Glasgow's in, and LaRue County might be the third best. They probably are the third best. I thought LaRue might put up a little bit more of a fight than they did, but I guess it doesn't help. And we saw this last year. One thing about LaRue last year is they really couldn't throw the ball very well. Their quarterback struggled with throwing the ball, and Glasgow made that guy pay like right out of the gate. Jalen Bradley had two early interceptions that set up Glasgow's first two touchdowns. And before we got out of the first quarter, it was 28-0. And at halftime, it was 42-0. And the final score was 42-6. And the Scotties are well on their way. I mean, they've already locked up the number one seed in the playoffs out of their district. And they've won the regular season district title, no matter what happens against Edmonson County this coming Friday. And their defense continues to be absolutely impressive, John.
Yeah, I mean, they've outscored their opponents 316-41. So they've given up 41 points in 8 games. And outside of Monroe and Barron, the points they've given up have been when the games have been over.
Yeah.
Running clock situation. And I think right now of their 8 wins, I believe I'm right, 5 of the 8 have been running clock. Mm-hmm. The exception is Barron and Monroe. And Hart maybe. I don't know if that was
it wasn't a running clock.
Okay, so 5 out of the 8.
Yeah.
And these games it's not like they've kind of got to a running clock in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
A lot of these running clock games have been over, by halftime.
Oh, yeah.
And that would worry me a little bit, to be honest with you. I mean, they are dominating teams right now, 42-6 over LaRue. And like I said, LaRue is traditionally been a really good team, and they're better this year. They've won 3 or 4 games this year. They won a game last year, so they are better.
Yeah.
But Glasgow is destroying these teams, and that would worry me a little bit because there's going to come a point in time where they're going to get into a battle. Maybe it's going to be against Franklin. Franklin got beat by Logan like 61-20.
It was a crazy score.
Crazy score. But Franklin will have enough horses to play with Glasgow for a while. I think Glasgow's going to win. But going into the postseason, they're either going to be, in my opinion, 9-1 or 10-0, and I think it's going to be 10-0.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been a while since they've had to battle the whole game, and that would bother me a little bit.
Yeah,
having to play 4 quarters and battle and so forth. It's not their fault. When you're blowing teams out, you're blowing teams out. I mean, it's not like you want to just kind of wait around and see what you can do in the second half. You can't play that way. You got to go for it. And that bothered me a little bit. We'll see. We'll see how that plays out when we get to the playoffs in 3 weeks. But Hudson Gum, just another, we can just kind of click off his stats every game here lately. He was 9-11, 175 yards, threw for 2 touchdowns, ran for 2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Jarek Martin, same thing, caught 2 touchdowns.
Mm-hmm.
Cam Bull, rushed for, leading rusher and touchdown. Right now it's like clockwork for him and so forth, and just another impressive win.
You were mentioning the stats. One of the interesting things about the stats is I was looking and at, like the state rankings and stats and that kind of stuff, and not all of them are in from Friday night, so I don't know exactly where people play out. But it dawned on me, I'm like, Glasgow's stats, offensive stats, are going to look not very impressive. But individually, just because they're not getting enough time on the field to really put up the kind of numbers that probably they would if they were playing 4 quarters. If they're having to play somebody. And part of that is because not just what they're doing on offense, but their defense is giving up nothing. And so it's kind of easy to get a game over with in terms of getting your first team offense off the field when your defense is just not allowing anything either. I mean, your offense is explosive and your defense is absolutely shutting down every opponent they play.
Or your defense is scoring too.
Yeah, or your defense is scoring, right.
They're contributing to the running clock. They've had several interception returns for touchdowns or interception returns that gave the offense such a short field, they scored a couple of plays later.
Yeah, so I mean, in a way, I think their offensive stats, like if you're an opponent or you're somebody who's just kind of like stat watching and you're looking at Glasgow and you're looking at the scores and you look at the final stats of the game, their stats, offensive stats, aren't that impressive. I mean, because you're talking about a running clock, so the game's getting over with, fewer possessions. They're putting up whatever stats they're putting up basically in the first half with a couple of exceptions, or their second team is coming in and, putting up a few stats. So if you're just stat watching and you're saying something like you're trying to evaluate Glasgow and you're like, well, their stats aren't that impressive, it's deceiving. It's just not – the stats are not really telling the story to how effective they are playing. And in a way, not even the final scores. I mean, because you look at you look at the LaRue County game, it's 42-0 at halftime. So it was a running clock, with 3 or 4 minutes to go in the second quarter, something like that. So you've got that running clock going, and the second half is over with, and the final score is 42-6. And it's like – that's because there were only like 4 possessions total in the second half.
That's right.
And there's no telling how many points they actually could put up if there was not such a thing as a running clock in these games. I mean,
it's a good problem to have.
It is.
But like I said, I do think it also brings in other issues.
Yeah.
And, even Trinity, some of the better teams in the state, Trinity, St. X, Boyle County, and so forth, they have their fair share of running clocks, but they also have their fair share of games that they had to battle all the way through. And Glasgow had to do that against Barron and Monroe, but it's been a while, to be honest with you. And that toughness that you had to play 4 quarters and battle, and sometimes it's even at times just your conditioning and so forth. Just playing in those close games and so forth, we'll see if that matters. It may, they're going to get them eventually, and it may not matter. It may be they may have built up so much confidence too that that's the other side of the story. Their confidence has to be sky high as well. So and maybe that carries the day as well.
Well, it is a. When Coach Arnett was in here talking to us before the season started, he talked about how hard the practices were and that kind of stuff.
But that's early in the year.
Well, that's what I was going to get
at.
That's right.
I mean, I don't know what you make. I don't know what you do during the year. It's possible, Coach Arnett sees the schedule like we see the schedule too, that kind of knows what's going to happen, and maybe you do hit more in practice and so forth. Maybe. I don't know. I mean, it's possible you do that, but it's still kind of hard to simulate a 4-quarter game.
The intensity of the situation
that's really hard to do.
Yeah, I was going to, like you said, it's a good problem to have, but it's as a coach, it's a fascinating conundrum, I think.
It is.
Where you're trying to figure out, all right, I know how good my team is, and I know that when we get to the playoffs, it's going to be a different story at some point in time. We're going to play somebody that's going to hit us in the mouth, and we're going to have to respond to that. And we've not really had to deal with that for quite a while. But what do we do in practice in terms of, how hard do you practice? Because the other thing is –
see, in high school, I've had teams that could blow out a lot of teams too at times. And you can set up situations in practice like, okay, we're down 8 with 4.5 minutes to go, and we're going to play.
Yeah, right.
Can't really do that in football.
No. Yeah, because it's just a different animal.
Right.
And so I do think that's a fascinating conundrum. I guess, the benefit of his time at Boyle County probably is
he's had a lot of blowouts. That's correct.
Yeah, and so he's had to learn from some people who have been through these situations where you got a team is better than some of your competition, but you got greater ambitions. And
that's right.
They are playing at that level now that I think that people are looking around probably within the program and outside the program and kind of saying, how far can we go with this? We're playing that well. How far can we go with this? And And it would be one thing if their offense was playing just by their offense, but their defense is playing so well that's the thing that says how far can we go with this, I think.
I agree.
Meanwhile, Barron County's in a tough spot because it's not that they lost to Macon County, Tennessee on Friday night, and it's not even how they lost the game. It's that they came into the game, their leading rusher is gone, I understand, probably for the rest of the season.
Talking about Dalen?
Yeah, Dalen Thomas.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
he's got a finger injury.
It's a finger, but apparently it's a more than just your regular old finger injury. I don't know exactly what the deal was, and maybe there's something you can do to get him taped up and bring him back. But that would obviously
be a huge loss because it's offense and defense.
Yeah,
and you combine that with Jordan Harris,
right,
who has been out since the Monroe County game.
Yeah,
and I doubt if he's back. And
right.
Those are two explosive offensive players.
And then Ethan Bertram, one of their key offensive linemen, they lost him in the game against Greenwood.
Colton Thomas,
he's out.
Yeah, they've been bit.
Yeah.
This year by the injury.
Yeah,
but and it's clearly made a big difference. It's that's just the way it is. Some years you go through it like last year they were fairly injury free.
Yeah.
Fairly injury free. They lost Braxton Carnes at the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
But for the most part, they survived that. But this year, I mean, it's not how many injuries you get. Sometimes it's who gets those injuries.
Yeah.
And those are big injuries.
Well, it's who and when, because in the case you mentioned the Braxton Carnes last year, it was early, and so they were able to make some adjustments, yeah. Right? Mm-hmm. And so you can get some people worked into that spot, and as long as those people don't get hurt, then you are able to kind of build some depth in that regard.
Right.
But in this case, it's when they're losing these players as well at the start, at the period of the season. And I don't know, I mean, maybe they all get to come back, and that would be great. But right now, that's the situation they're in. And so despite that, they still played well, I thought, Friday night against Macon County, Tennessee.
Their schedule has been very difficult.
It has been.
We talked about Glasgow's probably needed – in a lot of ways, Glasgow could have benefited from some of from the Barron schedule in a lot of ways right now, to be honest with you. And probably Barron could have benefited from Glasgow's schedule, considering some of the things that have gone on. It's just where it goes sometimes. Barron's 3-5, but their losses have been to really good teams.
Yes.
This Macon County, Tennessee team was for real. They were the 4A state champion last year in Tennessee. Now, what that means, I'm not for sure because they got 1,000 classes. But
right.
But I'll just tell you this: it's the first team that I've covered Barron football for 30 years. It's the first team I've ever seen come to Barron. And it's about an hour drive too from Lafayette, Tennessee. They brought about 60 kids, maybe more than that.
Mm-hmm.
They brought their cheerleaders. That's a little, teams bring cheerleaders, but from that far, normally not. And they brought the band. It's the first time I've ever seen that.
They not only brought the band was rocking the whole game.
So they brought all those things, which is you just don't see very often.
No.
And Macon County, Tennessee reminded me of Greenwood. Their quarterback was probably better.
Yeah, I think so.
But they had a good team. But Barron played well.
Yeah, they did.
They ended up getting beat 29-14. But I thought Barron was really good, to be honest with you. Again, just kind of like the Greenwood game turned on the kickoff return that Greenwood had. This game kind of turned. Barron was getting ready to go in to score to make it, I think, a 6 or 7 point game in the third quarter.
It was 22-14 at that
time. 22-14.
They
took the kickoff, start the third quarter. Barron marched the entire length of the field, and Briggs Harris, who I thought played well, had a little. I don't remember if it was a scramble or was it a called run. But anyway, it's about a 10, 12-yard scamper, and he got hit right around the 2.
Mm-hmm.
And it looked like to me from my angle up there, it ended up fumbling, but it looked like to me he hit the ground and the ball popped out.
Yeah.
That's just what it looked like to me. I wasn't down there, so I can't be 100% sure. But anyway, fumbled right at the 1 or 2, and Macon County recovered it. And there was a discussion among the referees. Of course, you don't have instant replay or anything like that.
Yeah.
And they called it a fumble, and Macon took it, and they went 98 yards and eventually scored, I believe. And but that was a big play, obviously.
Yeah, that was a game. Well, okay. So early in the season, we discussed the officiating and the holding calls and all that. Mm-hmm. That's not going on now. That game right there, there was Barron got the ball back on what looked like a fumble earlier in the game. They said that Briggs was down. I had a photo. I thought the ball was out before he went down. And Myers talked about that in the postgame. He mentioned, we didn't get that call, but we did get the one earlier. But the problem is sometimes it's not which one went your way, it's when and where it went your way.
You kind of like the one at the goal line.
Yeah, you'd rather have that one go your way.
That's right. That's right.
So, the officiating can just swing both ways on you. But in that case, it was a bad. And then also on that drive, I think Macon County had a 3rd down and 20 or something like that. And talking about the quarterback, he made a great throw just down the field for the first down.
He did. He's a good player.
He was.
And they're a very physical team.
They were.
He's not Tim Tebow, don't get me wrong, but there was some Tebow, he ran the ball effectively. I think the quarterback had 140 yards of rushing.
Yeah.
But he also had a big arm, too. He threw it. They didn't throw it a lot, but he was effective when he threw it. But it's tough law. Barron took an early lead. They had a 31-yard touchdown run by Braxton Carnes. They took the ball, went right down the field and scored, and had a big 59-yard touchdown pass from Briggs Harris to Jackson Bird. It was a beautiful play. They played with them, but, to be honest with you, Macon County probably a little bit better, and especially with Barron injured the way they are right now. But they competed well, I thought. I thought Barron competed well, just came up short to a really good team. That effort against – I'll just say this. Barron's effort against Greenwood and Macon County, Tennessee, would give them wins over most teams.
Yeah, they would have. And they could have won both those games if things had just gone slightly differently, I guess.
Yes.
So it's not like you get to the end of it and say their effort was good, but they got beat.
Right.
They were good enough to win both those games, as well as the effort was good enough to win both those games.
I agree.
And we have an interesting situation, too, because one of the things that happened, so Barron plays at Warren Central on Friday night. And a couple of weeks ago, probably 3 weeks ago, we were like, well, that's kind of a dangerous game. Warren Central's looking pretty good. Turns out Grayson County stunned Warren Central and beat them pretty handily on Friday night, which was a fascinating situation.
Yeah, there's a three-way tie for either 3rd, 4th, or 5th, however you want to say it. Warren Central, Barron, and Grayson are all 1 and 2.
Yeah. Well, Warren Central is actually 0-3.
Warren Central's 0-3. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Barron and Grayson are tied at 1 and 2. Warren Central is 0-3 right now.
Yeah.
So
but there could be a three-way tie.
Could be a three-way tie. If Barron wins, they elevate to the number 3 in the district.
Yes.
If they lose, then and if Grayson loses as well, which it probably will against, I think, Bowling Green, there'll be that three-way tie. And I don't know how you split. I don't know if it goes by RPI or what. If it goes by RPI, then Barron's got the 3rd seed.
Yeah, it does go by RPI. I looked it up before just to double-check it. And I was like, well, I guess you don't want to lose a game, but I figured out it doesn't actually matter. You're right. I think it probably nothing would – because their RPI is like they're 500 and something, and both Grayson and Warren Central are 300 and something.
Okay, I was going to say Grayson can move themselves up if they played close to Bowling Green.
But I don't. Right now, I think it doesn't probably matter, and Barron will get the 3 seed. But
they still don't want to lose to Warren Central.
No, they don't. You don't want to get.
You want to end the season 5-5, and they got a shot against Warren Central and Allen County.
Yeah. Yeah, and hopefully, going back to the injury thing, hopefully I'm incorrect about these people being out. Hopefully some of them will get back. And if they do, I still think Barron, they have a good shot, because it also works out if they get the 3 seed. It looks like Madisonville North Hopkins will wind up it'll be them or Apollo as the 2 seed in that other district, because Apollo upset Madisonville North Hopkins on Friday night.
Okay.
So that kind of threw a kink into that, and I think Madisonville and Owensboro play either this Friday. I think they play this coming Friday. So if Owensboro wins that game, then Apollo would actually probably be the 2 seed if it works out that way.
Gotcha.
So, it could be, instead of going to Madisonville North Hopkins, it could be that Barron winds up going to Apollo. Well, could go to Apollo. I guess we'll have to see how it plays out. But that's what it looks like now. So that all got clearer. And then I guess the last football game really to talk about is the Caverna game at Russellville, in which Caverna was down 42-13, I think it was. And actually made a run at this game late. Once again, the Martin twins had, 400 yards rushing, and they had fewer – they didn't lead the team in tackles this time. They had other people who made tackles. So
Not a lot of tackles. They gave it 55 points.
You're right. They didn't make a lot of tackles.
Not a lot of tackles.
No. So you're right about that. But they've got a big game at home on Friday against Ballard Memorial.
The Bombers.
Yeah, the Bombers. And right now Ballard Memorial is dead last in that district. I mean, they and Caverna are both 0-2.
That's right.
But I don't know. I'm not sure how much it matters. I mean, you're going to be on the road one way or the other, and you're either going to Campbellsville or Kentucky Country Day for the first round of the playoffs. Yeah. And both those teams right now are really good.
Yeah, you'd be heavily underdog.
Yeah.
Shorter trip to Campbellsville probably.
Yeah, much rather go to Campbellsville. So you want to, and I'm not sure if I think Campbellsville and Kentucky Country Day play this coming Friday.
Okay.
So I think that's the way it works out. So anyway, that'll be interesting. Anything else on the high school football front you can think of, John?
No, other than, I mentioned the Logan County that destroyed Franklin Simpson. That surprised me a little bit.
Yeah, me too.
That margin of victory was a little surprising. And Bowling Green barely beat Greenwood 17-14.
Yeah, walk-off field goal.
So it tells you how much – I think it tells you both things. Bowling Green still not near as good as they were last year.
Yeah.
And Greenwood is a pretty good team.
Yeah, they are. And the gap, despite the score of that Barron Bowling Green game, the gap really isn't that big in this district between those three teams, I don't think.
It'd been a heck of a time to be pretty good this year.
It would have been.
In this district. That's right.
Yep.
Barron didn't have the injuries and so forth.
Yep. All right, this is Brown Sports Bag presented by McDonald's of Glasgow. We'll be right back.
Presented by McDonald's of Glasgow, it's back to the studio with James and John, the Brown Sports Bag.
John, you're big into the baseball stuff.
Yeah.
I just kind of, drop in and out of it. I'm a casual fan, as they like to say. Is Shohei Ohtani the greatest baseball player of all time, John?
I didn't see Babe Ruth play.
Fair enough.
Okay, I did not see that. But in my
That's the comparison.
that's the only comparison.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Pitcher and prolific hitter.
Mm-hmm.
In my lifetime, he's the best I've ever seen.
Yeah.
I've never seen anybody that's can hit 50 home runs. He's done that back-to-back years.
Mm-hmm.
Stole over 50 bases last year.
Which is also crazy.
That's correct. Can hits for average.
Mm-hmm.
He's not like he's hitting 210.
Yeah.
And then
so he's almost like a Ichiro, Albert Pujols,
but
Ricky Henderson.
I mean, he's the first ballot Hall of Fame, which whether he pitches or whatever. Now he didn't have the pitching resume because he's had 2 Tommy Johns.
Yeah.
But he's at that level. I mean, just in the final game of the playoffs against the Brewers, he went 6 innings and a third, and he struck out 10 and gave up, I think, 1 hit, one or 2 hits.
When he walked the lead off and gave up 1 hit like later, like in the 6th inning, something like that.
And hit 3 home runs in the game. He's the best I've ever seen. I'll just say that. And to have an arm that can throw 100 miles an hour, be a dominant pitcher, but also. Now, I will say this. I was hoping that he could set a precedent that would allow future players to do both, because you grow up playing and you see these great players in high school who are great hitters and pitchers.
Yes.
And still in college, you still see some of that, some of it. I think it's possible that you could see there could be better utilization of talent and roster if more teams would be a little bit more open-minded.
Yeah.
It's obviously hard to do.
Yeah.
But he's a great player. Plus, he has a great demeanor, personality. He's in a perfect situation with the Dodgers too, who know how to handle him and so forth. And he seems like he never gets upset. He's a great player. Like I said, the best baseball player I've ever seen.
I thought one of the interesting things, there was a post-game story, and he didn't say this, but one of his teammates, and I wish I could remember which one, they were asking about because I think he was in a bit of a slump heading into this game.
He was. Regular season's not a slump if you don't hit for 3 games. That's just part of it.
That's right.
But everything's projected a little bit more in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And he was like 1 for 18 or something.
Yeah.
And he's been striking out a little bit against the Brewers. Facing a lot of left-handed pitchers too, by the way.
Yeah. So the teammate's response, he was asked about, the slump and this kind of thing, and whether the question about, does the pitching interfere with his hitting or vice versa? And the teammate said, well, he says the pitching helps him not think about the hitting, and the hitting helps him not think about the pitching. And I thought to myself, that is right. Because you have a bad outing on the mound or whatever. You go out there, you give up a couple of big hits or whatever, give up 3 or 4 runs, and you go over to the bench and you sit there and you stew about it.
Right.
But if you got to turn around and go right back out there and hit the ball, you ain't got a whole lot of time to think about it.
Correct.
Meanwhile, same thing. You're in the batter's box. You go out there, you swing at 3 bad pitches, and you go over there and you stew about it for 3 innings before you get another chance to hit. Well, if you're going right out there to pitch, you're like, I ain't got time to think about this. I got to go throw the ball.
That's right.
And I thought, you know what? That is exactly right. We hear the coaching of players about, go over there and get your head right. You know what I mean? Whichever way it works out, whether you're going to go hit or pitch. But then, how do you get your head right? Well, what are you going to do? Do a Rubik's Cube while you're in there so you don't think about what your job is, I guess? Or do a crossword? Maybe that's what you need to do. Read a book on the sideline.
Well, what tells you how great he is watch his teammates who watch him every day. They're in awe of him.
Oh, yeah.
They know how difficult it is in baseball to just to be a good hitter, much less a great hitter, and how difficult it is just to be a good pitcher, much less a great pitcher. And he's got both of them.
Yeah.
And he's of course he's 6'4" too. He's got the physique, the body too, the presence and whatever amount of money they signed him for the Dodgers, or $500 million or whatever, and he deferred most of it to the end too. Yes, has clearly been well worth it, because when you sign him, you get really it's like a football player that plays both ways. Mm-hmm. You get the pitcher and the hitter.
Yeah,
not just one.
Yeah, it's you signed Michael Jordan in a way. He's the best offensive player and the best defensive player on your team.
Right.
And there's no, we talk about teams that give bad contracts to people for past performance, give them a 10-year contract, and, they're already at the stage in their career, in baseball especially, at the stage in their career where you're going to start seeing the decline.
Yeah, I think he was like 27 when he got it.
So it's, it's 10 years, and most of those 10 years look like they're going to be pretty good for you.
I think so. They're well on the way to winning another World Series.
Yeah.
And World Series hadn't started, so you never know.
Right.
But they sure look like they're destined.
Yeah. And meanwhile, talking about that not starting yet, we'll know who they're going to be playing after tonight, because that's the Blue Jays and Mariners are back in action in Game 7 tonight.
I'm for the Seattle simply because I made the call on the air here about 3 weeks ago that I thought it'd be the Dodgers
and the Mariners.
The Mariners. So I'm still holding on for the Mariners to win tonight.
I did not realize, and you may have said this, but I didn't realize the Mariners have never been to the World Series.
Never been.
Which is kind of amazing, because they've had some really good teams.
Yeah, they had a team probably 10, 12 years ago that won like 114 games.
Yeah.
Yep.
They've had some great players on their teams, too, through those years, and just not been able to get there. And the interesting thing about this series is the games have not really been close after the first one.
After the first one, yeah. There've been some one-sided games.
Yeah. That's kind of an odd situation, I think. So I'm wondering, is this a Game 7 where, the Game 7's a nail-biter, or it's also over with early? So
we'll see. Pitching has not been dominant in the series.
No.
So we'll see.
Either way, both of them look like cannon fodder for the Dodgers in the World Series.
Never know how series are and match up. You would think Toronto maybe probably offensively, maybe. I don't know. It's kind of hard to say. You don't know. The Dodgers, I'm not a big fan of too much rest, but they do get to line up their pitchers, exactly how they want to go.
Right.
So whether they play Seattle or Toronto, the Dodgers will be heavily favored.
Yep. Anything else on this Major League Baseball? Now that you have said that Shohei Ohtani is the greatest player you've ever seen.
That I've ever seen. Yes, he's the best.
Yeah, obviously he is. It's just crazy.
In my opinion. He's not my favorite. My favorite was Pete Rose.
Yeah.
But I really like watching Ohtani play.
Yeah.
He seems like a good dude. The Dodgers, to be to have the greatest payroll by far in the game is a very likable team.
Yeah.
Normally, teams with big payrolls are not well liked.
No.
They got a lot of likable players: Mookie Betts, Ohtani, Freddie Freeman, Kershaw. They got a lot of their managers very likable. They've just, unlike some other big money teams like the Mets, who are a disaster, and they've got the money and they're well run.
Yeah.
And that's what makes them so hard to beat.
Yeah. Yeah. It's fascinating. It doesn't usually work out this way, but it has for them.
That's exactly right.
All right. This is Brown Sports Bag presented by McDonald's of Glasgow. We'll be right back.
Presented by McDonald's of Glasgow, it's back to the studio with James and John, the Brown Sports Bag.
Welcome back to the Brown Sports Bag presented by McDonald's of Glasgow. James Brown, John Butler. John, Louisville had I don't know, what was it? It was an all right win on Friday night at Miami.
Please.
Am I underplaying that, John?
Only a Kentucky fan would say that.
Look, I'm not a Kentucky fan, but I know you're a Cardinals fan.
Like
Yeah, I'm not playing the role of one right now, I guess. But no, I just thought when they won that game, I was like, man, just imagine if they'd have won that game at Virginia in overtime.
I know. They'd been undefeated and probably top 10.
Yeah, they would be. I mean, because they are, watching them play, they are we'll talk about this top 10 and the rankings here in a little bit because I want to get into that a little bit. But Louisville looks like a team that is as good as some of these teams that are at the top of the top 10 at the moment, in my opinion. And they've got some players who look like they're that good as players.
Yeah, that running back is really good. I think if they had him against Virginia, the story could have been a little bit different.
Yeah.
The Brown kid.
Yeah.
He was an outstanding freshman. He's been hurt.
Mm-hmm.
He was big against Miami. Obviously, the quarterback, Miller Moss, played really well. The defense was 4 interceptions against Miami. You know, Miami was number 2 in the country, and they go down there on prime time Friday night. Not much else on TV.
Yeah.
And just pull off it. You know, so they got the win on the right stage too.
Yes, that's right.
Kind of the only game in town, to be honest with you, rather than kind of getting mixed up in all the Saturday games. So they had that kind of big stage on ESPN and so forth, and just another big win. Jeff Brom, he's knocked off. That's not his first one. He's knocked off several wins against top 10 opponents. You know, when you combine Louisville and at Purdue and so forth, and yeah, it's a huge win, and they obviously needed that because their first 3 games were against teams that they were much better than.
Yeah.
And then they lost. Then they got a good win against Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh came back and just got a big win against somebody I've gone blank against, and losing to an undefeated Virginia in overtime is their only blemish right now. And they've got a kind of a favorable schedule. They got Boston College this week, and it's a team they should win. Mm-hmm. The one kind of knock on Louisville, though, is that they have, they were a 13.5-point underdog. Mm-hmm. And I knew right then, boy, you're playing right into Brom's wheelhouse. I worry when they are 13.5-point favorite.
Yeah, that's kind of been the bit since he's been back at Louisville.
That's right.
They've kind of followed up.
Following up on a huge win is going to be the recipe right here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, you mentioned those guys and Bell, the receiver. That guy, he's pretty
good
dynamic.
Last year. Yes, he is. Just Jeff Brom. You know what? Louisville's got to watch out for us. People come in and try to take him. Now, he's a Louisville guy. Yeah. Played at Louisville Trinity and so forth. So, it would have to take a tremendous offer. Mm-hmm. I don't think he wants to go, but, he would have to be on a list, now that Penn State's open and they just got rid of Billy Napier at Florida today for $57 million to walk
Win
away.
A game, get fired.
Arkansas, there's a lot of schools out there, but I've said all along that I've always felt like Jeff Brom's top 10 coach in the country.
I do too, and I think you're right though. It would not only just take a lot; it would take Jeff Brom making a big family decision.
Yeah, and I think they'll do what Indiana did with their coach.
Yeah,
they gave him a 10-year contract extension for like $80 maybe it's 8 years at $80 million, something like that. And I think Louisville will probably end up doing something like that.
Meanwhile, Kentucky lost a tough one, really, to Texas. What was it, 16-13?
Outplayed Texas.
Yeah, outplayed Texas.
Completely outplayed Texas. Only Kentucky can lose these games. I mean, with Stoops. I mean, and I'm just trying to be fair.
You're not wrong.
I'm being fair. How many times can you? I think it was 26-8 first downs. Kentucky had 26-8.
Yeah.
And they outgained Texas like 350 plus to 186 and lose. Mm-hmm. So it's hard to do.
Yeah.
And Cutter Boley was tremendous. I mean, he was like 30 for 37 for 280 yards. Completely outplayed Arch Manning. Arch Manning was not very good.
That man's draft stock has plummeted since the start of the year.
Right, but it came down to 2 punt returns that really hurt Kentucky. Mm-hmm. And it came down to some again typical kind of, I think, the criticism of Stoops, some very conservative calls at key kind of winning moments.
Yeah.
He went for it in overtime. Kentucky got the ball first in overtime, and they got it down to the 1 yard line and had third down, and he ran it right up the middle. Didn't get it. Mm-hmm. Kick a field goal. You kind of force Texas to. Texas has the option to kick a field goal or score. They went for it, which I thought was a good move, aggressive move. But I thought the call to go for it on fourth and goal from the 1 was aggressive. The call was horrible.
Yeah.
Another same call right up the middle. Rather than having a fake and a little bootleg and get Cutter Boley out, who's a good athlete who can maybe run it in himself, just the same call and got stuffed. And to give the defense credit, they did a good job on Texas. They made them beat them on a 40-something yard field goal.
Yeah.
So it wasn't a chip shot. But, things like that, Kentucky had every chance to win and completely outplayed Texas. But they did that last year to Georgia too, and lost that game. And then after that, the wheels kind of fell apart a little bit. And we'll see if they can kind of keep it together because they got Tennessee this week, which won't be easy. It's a good time to play Tennessee. Tennessee just lost at Alabama.
Yeah,
kind of an emotional game for them. But Kentucky has not had much success at all against Tennessee. But they got another chance at them, I guess.
I think this goes back to our earlier discussion. With what we're seeing in college football now, especially, I guess, because of transfer portal and this kind of stuff, programs are cutting their coaches loose, like before we get to the end of the season.
I'm surprised.
Yeah.
Because I'm surprised about the buyouts because it didn't seem like, the colleges are paying, the Power 4 teams are all paying about $21 million for athletes.
Yeah.
So that money's going. Mm-hmm. And then to find an additional buyout money, and it's what people don't understand. Just like with Billy Napier of Florida, they're paying him $57 million to go away.
Yeah.
Well, they also going to have to pay another coach too,
right?
And all that staff. So when they get the bill next year, it may be $80 million. It's just mind-boggling to me for a public institution to have that much money, or to have donors who have that much money just throw away.
I'm guessing
incredible.
that's the case. I'm guessing they feel like they have people who are willing to pony up the money to get out of this and get into something else.
Because you got to win.
Yeah, because you got to win.
That's right.
And they're making that decision now, I think, because of the transfer portal window is that now they know they have to signal to the people who would like to come there that you're not going to come here and play for this loser. I'm doing loser in air quotes. You're going to play for somebody who's a future winner. You know what I mean?
Right.
That it's the whole marketing ploy, I think. And Kentucky's in a tight spot with Stoops for a couple of reasons. One is Vanderbilt, Indiana, as we mentioned, both those. Missouri even is looking pretty good this year. You're in the SEC with some programs that are making these turnarounds, or not just in the SEC, programs that are close to you. Your rivals are making these turnarounds, and you're losing games that you should win, or you're just not playing well in games against teams that you should beat handily.
Yeah, and Soup's been there for a while. He's been there 13, 14 years. And, and it's a tough call. I would not buy him out, to be honest with you. I think the best they can hope for is something that happened to Calipari and to Tubby Smith, where maybe another suitor comes calling, like an Iowa, something like that,
right.
and Stoops sees kind of the writing on the wall, and maybe he decides they can work out an agreement where he can walk away and take another job and so forth. That's probably
they make the old mutual agreement.
That may be the best situation forward. But with the way Cutter Bowley played, gives some hope. At least a little bit. At least he's showed signs right there of a good young quarterback. He played well. That's a positive.
Yeah. The downside for Kentucky on that front is that positive might lead to him playing for somebody else.
Well, you never know.
If things don't improve,
I
guess.
And if coaching changes happen and so forth, and everybody's a free agent again.
Yeah, that's right. Meanwhile, WKU lost to FIU last Tuesday, 25-6.
It
was a rough
game.
performance for him.
Terrible game.
Yeah.
And it just seems like occasionally, and I think Coach Helton's done a really good job. For the last so many years, he stayed there, and they seem to be always competitive and jumps up and has some really good games and quarterbacks and seasons. He's just very steady. But it also seems like they always will throw in a game like this or two.
Yeah, that's right.
And the Tuesday night is a horrific time to play.
Yeah.
It's national TV. It's on one of the ESPN networks.
National money.
But it's kind of a late start. 7 o'clock's not that late, but on a Tuesday night and things like that.
Yeah.
And they got beat by not a great FIU team either.
No.
And that game was really no contest.
No, their offense never got started in the game.
And FIU just ran it down their throat.
Yeah.
Yeah, very, very kind of puzzling loss in terms of being dominated. I could see them losing, but being dominated, I didn't see that.
Was it the UTEP game last year where they had the running back that ran for over 200 yards and WKU just could not stop him whatsoever? It was kind of like that.
Yeah, something like that, yeah. And they got another, they play tomorrow? Is it
they play tomorrow night again, yeah. They're on that Tuesday to Tuesday schedule, which that just shouldn't exist, let's be honest.
I agree.
Hey, on the upside, though, I think Aiden Miller got a start on the kick return team.
Good for him.
Former Barron County player got in there, got his action in.
Good for him.
Real quick, before we get out here on this football segment, college football segment, can you name the 6 undefeated teams left in college football?
Indiana, Ohio State.
Yep.
Indiana, Ohio State. Those are 2 that just jump out.
They're 1 and 2 in the poll.
They're 1 and 2 in the polls. Okay. Is there an SEC team? I don't think so.
There's one left.
There's one SEC team that's left. It's not Alabama. It's not Georgia. It's not.
They're actually number 3 in the poll.
They're 3 and why have I gone blank? It's not Vandy. It's not LSU. It's not Texas. Who is it?
Texas A&M.
Texas A&M. Yeah.
They have played nobody.
yeah.
And they shouldn't be number 3. I'm here to tell you.
You're right. They shouldn't.
The others are BYU, Georgia Tech, and Navy.
Yeah, I knew Georgia Tech. Yeah. That was ACC team. Yep.
And I was looking at the top 10, going back to why I said Texas A&M is undefeated and they're number 3. I was like, no way, because I decided I was like I looked at their schedule. They've played no one they've not played anyone outside the SEC, and they've not played any of the top teams in the SEC. And I was like, you know what, they shouldn't be number 3.
Well, they will though.
Yeah, they will, and then they won't be undefeated anymore.
Probably,
I don't think. And so I decided my top 10 was Ohio State, Indiana, Bama, Georgia. I put Texas A&M number 5 just because they are undefeated. I put Ole Miss 6, and as a matter of fact, I'm not sure Ole Miss shouldn't still just be right up there because that was a great game with Georgia. They've kind of found ways to actually lose the game. And then I figured Georgia Tech should be next, and then Oregon, Vanderbilt, and Missouri. I think that should be the top 10. Now, I actually would have Louisville not too far out of it, maybe about 13 or so. I think they come in at 17 or 19 in this
19th.
19 this poll that was released today. So, yeah. So anyway, there you go. Anything else?
No. I think we'll wrap it up next break, right?
Yep.
Got volleyball.
Yep. Brown Sports Bag presented by McDonald's of Glasgow. We'll be right back.
Presented by McDonald's of Glasgow, it's back to the studio with James and John, the Brown Sports Bag.
John, it's the postseason for volleyball. It begins tonight, 15th District, being played over at Glasgow High School.
That's a short trip for you.
Yeah, I can download this show and then get on over there. And let's see. So Glasgow, the first game is at 5:30. That's between Barron County and Warren East. We were looking before we got started. No one has won a set off of Warren East in the district this year.
And this is be best of 5.
Best of 5, yeah. And do regular season district games are best of 5 as well.
Okay, all right.
And I think the closest anybody has come, from what I could tell, was Allen lost to them 27-25 in a set. So Warren East is clearly the best team, and the third best team in the region, probably third or fourth, right there. Probably third best team in the region.
Okay.
And so tough call there for Barron County. Of course, they had a celebration of Coach Robin McMurtry last Thursday. This is her final season coaching. I joked with her when I went over there for senior night last week. I said, this is it. It's like, because I think you've retired before, haven't you? She said, no, this is it. She said, I'm done. I said, all right. But yeah, so it's a tough final match, a tough match for her not to be her final one. And then
maybe it won't be. They have to pull an upset off.
They will indeed. It'll be monumental.
That's right.
And then Glasgow plays Allen County. Allen County swept the two regular season games.
But the games were not blowouts. They were competitive for the most part, right? Especially the second time, right?
Yeah, Allen won the first one 3-1, and I think they won 2 of the sets like in extra points. Okay. So it was close, and then the last one was 3-2. Allen won, and in the tiebreaker, Allen won 15-11.
So that has a making of a potential good match then.
Yeah, and we talked about this. Glasgow's played a lot better as the season's gone along.
Right.
They've played pretty well in a lot of their games, so it'll be an interesting match. And then the regional cross country meet is this coming Saturday. Both Barron County and Glasgow will be running at Thomas Nelson High School.
Not against each other, though.
No. One's in 1A and one's in 3A. They have these classification things that you detest in cross country, John.
Yeah, so, not a big fan. I don't think the size of your school determines how fast you are or slow.
Oh, come on now. Bigger schools run faster.
Yeah, that's right.
But anyway, the 3A meet, boys and girls, are on Saturday morning. I think the girls are at 9 our time, and then the boys are about 9:45 our time. And then the 1A meet will be in the afternoon. I think it's like at 12:30 or
Thomas Nelson. Never heard of them having the meet there.
That's where they have the Hillbilly Run every year, I believe.
Okay, all right.
Now, I don't know if they do the run at Thomas Nelson or there's a park that they may run in.
All right.
But on the website, it says it's at Thomas Nelson. So I'm going to take them for it as I drive up there on Saturday morning. But, yeah, and I guess Thomas Nelson's pretty good cross-country program.
Don't know.
I know track, they don't generally, they have some pretty good distance runners.
Run around the bourbon barrels.
Yeah, there you go.
Birdstown.
You can go for a bourbon tour and then run around the bourbon barrels.
That's right.
That'll help you running.
Yeah.
Probably kill you, but nonetheless. But yeah, so that's where they will be on Saturday. Hard to believe we've gotten to this point of the season. It's turned cooler over the weekend. It's supposed to be cool all week.
I don't like it.
You don't like it?
I do like it.
You do like it. I like this kind of
this
time of
year. This is my favorite weather. Yep.
Yeah. I'm a sweater wearer by nature, so I like when it cools off a little bit and I can wear my sweaters.
I agree.
But we're closing in on the postseason for all of our fall sports. We got a couple of weeks left before the football season, postseason begins. But yeah, it's that time of the year. Hard to believe, John, we've gotten here this quickly.
The days are long, but the years get shorter.
They do indeed. And with that note, that's the Brown Sports Bag presented by Glasgow and McDonald's. We'll be back next week.
You've been listening to the Brown Sports Bag on WCLU. Be sure to join James and John again next Monday at 4 for another edition of the Brown Sports Bag.